Big old pile of what, Ryan?
I know this one.
It starts with an F.
Big facts.
Big facts in the
Big
building
facts
today.
are coming in here today. We have one of our very good friends, someone who we've collaborated with in the past. We met him as an assistant to our good friend Matt, who's worked on a lot of our albums, and then he slowly became a good part in just kind of all the rest of our albums since then.
Welcome to the Kamp podcast. Austin Parker Jones is in the building.
Big bag of
ATJ.
Big
facts.
old bag of facts.
Big bag of facts Studios LLC.
Yeah.
Producer,
how you doing,
musician, mixing engineer. What else you got?
Freaking Wim Hofer.
Yeah, he does breathe a lot. He just breathed into the microphone.
I breathed in the microphone.
I could have just taken my headphones off, but I didn't. I just listened to it.
Yeah. I was kind of trying to throw you guys off, but you guys did well.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that mic? Do you need to adjust it?
I feel like there we go.
There we are.
Yeah, those are the things that I am.
Yeah.
Overall.
Well, that's who you are to us. But you're a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy.
So for people that don't know who you are, you kind of briefly just described it, but Austin has worked on pretty much every album we've done since Tropical Heartbreak, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So-
where we met you. You were the guy that we would tell to go get us beer while we were recording at first.
I did it happily. It was fun. And sometimes I would take one of you guys and we would wind up on a side quest and it'd be
Andy taking you to the post office to retrieve
you gotta
certain tactical tools for the recording experience.
I had never met any of you guys, and I met all of you the night that we were starting a week stay together. So I was definitely like, man, I really hope I don't piss these guys off immediately by, doing something stupid or like leaving my stuff somewhere or whatever.
Was that the first project you got asked to come assist on with Matt? Like an actual stay-in project where you're like really going to stay with the band for a week or whatever?
Yeah, that was the first time I had stayed with any band that wasn't like my own band, going to Flagstaff.
What was your honest first impression of how we were at the time?
Well, I met you all one at a time. So you all kind of arrived. Two of you might have rolled up with somebody, but I think I remember Andy getting there on his own.
I rolled up with Andy on that one.
Oh, all right, then maybe, okay. But everyone was rolling up and I was like, I didn't know your names or what you guys played in the band, and I was just like, dude, just be cool. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that they're just like, dude, there's this guy here right now. And then, the first impressions I got of you guys are actually pretty accurate, because I remember Andy being like, Andy was pretty Andy right then and there, and I was like, whoa, dude, I'm gonna have to observe this man. He's like, this is a very unique person right here, And, he was just like, what's up, dude? He was just so immediately, you guys were all really friendly, and I just remember being like, yo, this guy's the singer. This guy is just mega, just the mojo and stuff. And yeah, and then just the very next day, all those escapades going to the post office and the fun
What'd
favors.
you guys get at the post office?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah,
Does the podcast want to know?
Go ahead.
Well, the first conversation I ever had with Andy Chavez, I was talking to him about all kinds of stuff. And
Was this day one Tropical Heartbreak?
this is the day before. This is the night everyone got there, and the next day we got to work. So the first day, or the first night, we're in the kitchen just kind of meeting each other, and somehow within 5 minutes, he's like, "So what kind of drug have you always wanted to try, but you haven't been able to try?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Bro,
that's how he meets you."
It's like, "Bro, what?" But I think that's why I was like, "This is the singer of the band," and I was like, "Well, man, I've always been interested in DMT." And then he's like, "All right, cool." And then the conversation ends right there. We kind of get to work the next day, and around dinner time, "Hey, man, can you run me to the post office?"
First of all, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. He told me about this last night.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So go ahead. So he
so
asked you to take him to the post office.
go to the post office. I'm like, he forgot something at home. He got mailed something at home.
Yeah.
So we get down there, and he comes back and opens his package in the van, and it's like a jewel, a jewel case, but inside the jewel case is, you guessed it, is freaking he had overnighted a DMT pen.
Did he fucking do this after the conversation he had with you?
Not 24 hours later, I was holding.
It's so funny because like on the way up, he had brought a bunch of weed, like I think for Matt, you know.
Oh, okay.
And so we had like a bunch of weed in the car, and we get pulled over on our way in, and the cop, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And I've been in so many situations where I was pulled over by a cop, and Andy was driving, and I'm just like, dude, this is not gonna be good, I know. And the cop's like, what are you guys doing out here? And we're like, oh, we're going to record, you know, we're a band. He's like, oh, what kind of band are you? He goes, we're a reggae band. And I was like, bro,
stop right there. Don't even say
we
you're
have
a band.
trunk full of weed.
Why would you even say you're in a band?
Yeah,
you know?
he's like, yeah, I'm in a reggae band. And the guy's like, oh, okay. And he's like Sublime, like we know like those kinds of guys. And he's like, the guy just like takes a look at us and he goes, I fucking love Sublime. You guys have a good rest of your day.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he just let us go. And then we get like 5 minutes away, and I was like, Andy, we have so much weed in this car. Like, you can't just tell people we're in a reggae band if you get pulled over.
That's the story of Andy's entire life, was his charisma or just luck always having his back.
Oh my
we were in
God.
Huntington. We went to the bars, and then we had to go to meet everybody else at band practice. So it was like just me and Andy at this place, and we're drinking a bunch of like big fucking beers, you know. And we get pulled over immediately on PCH, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm not driving, Andy's driving, and I was just like, dude, we weren't like hammered or anything, but it was just like we definitely had a few, you know?
Yeah.
And the cop's like, what are you guys doing? Where are you guys coming from? And he's like, oh, we were just at the bar. And I was like, bro, stop. Like, you can't do that. He's like,
Hey, he is being
beers?
honest.
Yeah, he's like, do you have any like anything
Honesty's
to drink?
best
He's like, I only had 2 beers. He's like, well, they're pretty small though, right? Like the cop says, and he goes, no, they're pretty big.
No!
They're like bigger beers. And I was like,
oh my God.
And the cop just goes, you're a fucking idiot. Like, we're like at the border of getting into Newport. He's like, those cops are way bigger assholes than we are. Like, go home. And then we went to band practice, and I think we wrote like probably like one of our bigger songs at those studios is when we were practicing at recess, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got a new lease on life, you know. After
He
that.
was just one of those people where he was like untouchable. Like, and he'd always get himself in situations that were really bad, and then it was just he would like get out of it, like always. It was crazy.
Oh my God, that is the grace of God.
Which
That's
kind
amazing.
of explains the confidence.
Yeah.
If you're always gotten away with everything your whole life, it's just like.
Oh, dude, I have a story kind of like that. We were, I was in a small band, and we were playing a show in California or something, but we were stopped right over by the border because of our trailer or something, and they wanted to go look in the trailer, and I think that's where we had the weed and stuff. And I was just like, man, this is it. Like, I'm done doing everything fun now. And he was like, hey, you guys in a band? And I didn't really say anything. And I'm looking at everybody, and I'm like, don't say anything, you know, like, but just with my eyes. And immediately 2 people are like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah, we're in a band. And I'm like, shit, all right, that's it. Like, done right there. And he's like, oh, dude, my son's the bassist of Mest.
That's awesome.
I was like, dude.
Of mess.
I was like, is this about to go well somehow? And he was just like, man, you guys just, you know.
That's cool.
What was What was the big Mest song?
I don't remember. I actually didn't know about
I
them.
remember.
Cadillac something? Is the lyrics?
Yeah. I forget what the song was. One time we were on tour. We were in Texas, and Andy they're like smoking a joint in the van, and we got pulled over by like a Texas Ranger while there was like an active joint going on.
Me and Andy started eating all of the weed.
They started eating all the
it
weed.
was like over an eighth of weed too. So like we're literally getting pulled out of the van. This like very scary cop with a cowboy hat tells us to get the fuck out of the van. We're like chewing, swallowing.
Andy's talking to the cop. He's like, do you have anything in your mouth? He's like, no. And he's like you could see the weed just like rolling around his mouth. And the cop calls for backup.
Sorry to Andy's parents if they listen to this
Oh my
episode.
God.
Listen.
But it is kind of a rite of passage to eat weed if you're in a band.
And we ate it, and whoever tells you that you can't get high from eating weed is very wrong.
Nah.
I was, yes, I've never eaten that much weed in a sitting, and we had like a 6-hour drive somewhere to the next city in Texas, and I was not having a fun time in the back of the van.
Well, he called for backup, so there's like another cop there.
Well, they
And
were
he's
just
like, one of you
fucking with
guys is
us.
going to jail. One of you guys isn't making the show. And we're like, oh, fuck, here we go. And they're like, Ryan. And I'm like, dude, I don't even smoke. I'm
You're
not
the
taking
one.
this one. Yeah. I'm not taking this one. And then, and the cop's like, all right, like one of you guys is going to jail. Who is it? And we're like, I don't know. He's like, so none of you guys know whose weed it is or it smells or where it's at.
Yeah.
We're like, no. And so we had like I think it was like a vaporizer or something with us. And cop just goes, all right, I just don't want to do the paperwork. So I'm going to follow you guys to the gas station. You guys throw it away. And once you throw it away, I'm going to watch you leave. And then you just go.
No. He said, I don't want that shit stinking up my car.
Oh, yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. And like, yeah.
But he like said, he's like, I'm going to follow you guys to the gas station. So he followed us to the gas station. We like stood there and we pretended to throw it away and held onto it and just took off.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
wow. In Texas.
In Texas, yeah. And it was like before it was legal anywhere. So it was like really scary.
No,
there.
that's unheard of. Wow. I mean, that's a dope band story though. That's like,
So, what got you into music when you were a little kid? Like, when did you start playing music, or how did that all begin?
dude, I started playing music on a Play School battery powered piano, like that big.
Okay.
I got a toy and it was a piano.
How old were you?
I mean, 4,
Okay.
5, and I grew up going to church, and you know, everyone's singing the hymns and stuff.
Is that how you learned to sing?
We didn't really like. It was a Mormon church, so it wasn't
Okay.
like people weren't like shredders.
There's
you know,
not like a choir, right?
no
Or
instruments.
Is there a choir?
There's a choir, but it's very, you know, the Mormon choirs are very like, they're beautiful, but they're very like polite and I'd say like calm and like graceful and
It's
stuff.
not a
Like
black church.
they're very reverent. They're not very like energetic. They don't have like, you don't get chops. I
Right,
think,
yeah.
you know. So like, I just remember the melodies and stuff, and you know, I'm young, and so I'd come home and I would just one finger kind of just tap out melodies. And my parents saw that happening, so they bought me a guitar. So, you know, my dad was like glam metal rocker. So my dad's like,
He played in bands.
No. He was just like, so my dad, I should probably talk on the mic. My dad comes home at age 17 to his cowboy dad with like a pierced ear. And you know what I mean? He's like listening to Rat and Motley Crue and stuff. And so like,
Okay.
my dad, even though he wasn't a musician, he could sing his ass off. And he was just, he knew about all that cool music, you know. And some stuff I had to find on my own, like the Beatles and Zeppelin and stuff. He wasn't like, it wasn't his style, but I knew about like rock, and I loved rock before I even knew how to like talk, you know. So by the time I got a guitar, I was like, yep, this is how this goes. And actually the way I learned how to play guitar was Guitar Hero.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I remember people talking about Guitar Hero and being like, it doesn't teach you guitar, but it's fun and stuff. And yeah, it does. Totally
Yeah.
does. Like,
It
teaches you rhythm.
it teaches you how to use your pinky.
Yeah.
For sure. I would say like with syncopation of your fingers and rhythm and hitting the notes at the correct time, it could be very useful for that.
Yeah, coordination.
Yeah.
Telling
Like
your
there's
hands how
not
to-
that big of a difference between Guitar Hero and tabs. Am
No,
I right?
no,
Like
yeah.
there's not that massive
Except
of
for
a
there's
difference.
4 options.
Put your finger here
Yeah,
and do
but
this. Yeah,
but if there was a simplified version of tabs that was a video game, that is basically is Guitar Hero. Right?
and
Yeah.
and it was, and I think they actually.
So
came
how
out
old
with,
were you when you got your first guitar?
8,
Okay.
8, and it's also when songs and bands started to happen.
Did you start taking lessons? Like, did your parents get you lessons for guitar?
So I never got lessons. I actually, with guitar, when I bought the guitar, they included a little DVD that showed you how to play like 3 chords. So
Okay.
I learned like a C chord and a D, and I think like an E or a G. And I was like, I just kind of played those like back and forth. I kept switching my hand between them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what it is, man, but this is sick. Like,
Yeah.
are there more of these?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, with Guitar Hero, the system I'd kind of built with my dad was that the way Guitar Hero works, for those who don't know, the songs come in levels of 5. The levels are 5 songs each. So I'd go to my room after beating the level, and I'd learn those songs on the guitar. And then I'd go back and I'd do the next level of Guitar Hero. And by the end of Guitar Hero, I was playing, you know, maybe shittily.
Yeah.
Shittily's a word now.
Yeah.
It is. I say it often.
Shittily.
Yeah.
I was playing them however I was playing them, but it was teaching me along the way. And I was just, you know, you start to see patterns and stuff. And it just made it way more fun. And then I got the next Guitar Hero and the next Guitar Hero. And I was just, and then I found My Chemical Romance through that. And
Dude,
I
MCR, baby. Let's go.
And dude, my dad had like the Grammys on with American Idiot had just come out, so it was 2004 or something. And I just see, I think they're playing in front of like a giant like green American flag like they had, and there's just fire. And I was like that.
Yeah.
That. I don't know what that is, but like
you saw it on TV and you were like, yo.
Just standing in front of the TV like.
Yeah.
And so that was how.
Those are the days, man. That's when people still saw like music shit on TV that was like really impacting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Guitars
like
and
Fuse.
bands.
You remember Fuse?
Oh yeah. Mark Hoppus' show.
I remember waiting before I would go to school for like music videos to premiere on Fuse. And I remember, I will never forget the music video premiere of Feeling This by Blink. I was like probably 15 at the time when that album came out. And just waiting, and my mom let me go to school late that morning because she knew the video was premiering and she knew it like meant a lot to me. So I'm just waiting, fucking watching, and that video came on, and it was just like, God, this is sick. I was just so inspired by it, dude.
So you already knew about Blink. You were waiting on
Blink was the second show that I had ever got, the second concert I ever went to. The first concert I ever saw was the Chili Peppers when I was 13.
Come on, man.
Which is really interesting because, like, if there were two drummers that really did shape me, like my style as a drummer, it's probably a very heavy combination of Chad Smith and Travis Barker.
Wow, I can totally see that.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
I like the funky side of Chad Smith that's like very stylized, and then the like more machine aspect of Travis Barker, and like combining those.
That's so funny.
What was your first concert?
My first concert. I don't know if I count this one, but do you guys remember Shiny Toy Guns? This band?
No. Yes.
Yeah, I actually don't remember anything about them, but I remember
I'm having another
that.
sip of your coffee, sorry.
Please kill it, dude. It's good. But I remember going to Tempe Marketplace free concert series, whatever they have during the summer, and someone was like, "We're gonna go see a band," and I was like, I realized when they said that I'd never seen a band, and I was like, I don't even know what to like.
How old are you? 12. Later.
No, like 9, like 8.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm kind of just like, I don't know how to do this. Do you just go? And they were like, dude, you know what I mean? I was like,
totally.
How do you see it? You know, so like I remember seeing it, and we got there late and left early, and I got a little taste. But then the first actual concert I saw, I can't remember which was first. One of these was first. One of them was Smash Mouth.
Sick.
And it was at Chase Field. So,
damn.
So
son.
a baseball game
Let's
finishes, and they roll out a big old stage, and Smash Mouth comes on.
That's so sick.
Which is objectively sick.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
So, my first one was the Vandals and Pennywise together, and it was at Mesa Amphitheater. My dad went to Hot Topic and got a Ramones T-shirt for the concert.
Epic.
And he was walking around, and this like 13-year-old girl was like, "That's a cool shirt, mister." And my dad brings it up to me every time I see him now. Still about how
I got a pretty cool shirt, huh?
It was your dad's 20 Seconds of Fame.
Yeah, dude, it was fun. It was kind of cool because it was at Mesa Amphitheater, and then we did Kamp Fest, which is like the most important show that we've ever done. That
that's actually
didn't go
really
to.
crazy.
And
Wow.
that was
Mesa
like
Amp.
we played at Mesa Amp. Yeah,
that you did not go to.
I had cooler shit to do that day, actually.
yeah, you did.
Yo, dude, that's actually so epic that your first show was at Mesa Amphitheater, and then you got to perform there.
We got
day.
to like headline Mesa Amphitheater.
If you actually think about that, like think about how old are you? 13.
I think I was like
12, 13. There's no way you could have ever possibly imagined that you would have been doing that.
No, it was just
at the level, like arguably Kamp Fest had more people at that show than the Vandal show that you went to when you were 12.
Yeah.
I would honestly like, I would bet that Kamp Fest we had more people.
Well, and it was like
that.
also
That is
cool
trippy.
because like Josh Freese was playing. He's in the Vandals, you know.
Mhm.
Big fan.
And Pennywise was like the first band, and like not too long ago, maybe like 6-7 years ago, we played a show with Pennywise and Sublime with Rome, and Josh Freese was playing with Sublime with Rome.
Whoa.
And so it's kind of like another one of those like, oh, this is cool. It's like my first concert.
Do you guys have more of those, like, full circle ones with via Katastro? Or, like, you know, saw this band, played with the band, venue kind of thing?
For me, Red Rocks was
Wow.
a literal dream come true because I would have dreams when I was in high school, when we started the band, when I was 17. You know, like Katastro's just started and we're in my garage, and I had dreams in high school that we were playing at Red Rocks.
Nice, cool.
And so when that happened, that was like
Crazy.
it was a very reality check of like, oh, like dreams can actually come true.
I remember
Like,
this
stuff that
really-
you've dreamed
Oh, sorry.
can actually
Wow.
happen.
I remember this really small show we played in Long Beach, and there was like fucking 15 people there all on the side walls. It was really fucking bad. But we were playing with the drummer of RX Bandit's solo project. And RX Bandit was like my favorite band when I first joined our band. And it's like the only tattoo I really or one of the only tattoos I have is like RX Bandit's lyrics. And so that was kind of cool to be like, oh, we're playing, like, even though there was nobody at this place and the place fucking sucked and the show was awful, it was like we're playing with these people that like when I first started the band, I was trying to like emulate their music.
Whoa,
you know?
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is trippy when it's you know, for me it's always like a person's like height. Like when I've seen someone only on a screen or something, and then I see them there and I realize that they're actually like a finite like height or something. And I see that they're actually like a person, and I can see like the different angles
they're
of them.
So much shorter than you always think they are.
I'm just like, what the fuck? It's always such a, like, no matter what it is, no matter how they like appear, I'm always just like, I can't believe that they appear any type of way. I'm like, oh, that's right, like you're a person. Like, and I still, even though I don't get necessarily like starstruck the same way I used to when I was a kid, I'm still like surprised that someone's a person often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I'm not like, like.
Yeah, I don't get that way when I like run into like most musicians or anybody that's famous. I never feel like weird about it. But like, dude, I saw Guy Fieri. I fucking froze the fuck up.
Where'd you see him?
I saw him walking into a restaurant to film an episode, and yeah, dude, like recently. I'll send you a video. It's funny as fuck.
It's so funny,
dude. I said on the pod already, but I was trying to go to this restaurant, and they were closed for a private party on like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I was like, what kind of fucking idiot books a party on a Wednesday?
Guy Fieri.
Like, this party's gonna suck. I see all the people hanging outside. I'm like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, they just looked like they used to ride motorcycles, but they don't anymore, you know?
He hits the Katastro. He hits the Katastro group chat with a photo of Guy Fieri outside of a window, and me and Tanner are like, what the fuck?
But dude, so Guy Fieri was one where I was like, oh shit. And then there's this other, like, there's a lot of chefs that I've like bumped into or been around where I'm just like, oh, that's like a high level chef that like I kind of those ones I get nervous around, which is really fucking weird. But then also like RX Bandits, which is like, we probably arguably played the same size, if not bigger shows, you know, but they were the most important band to like my early stages, and like I love them so much. So if I like was at a place, I forget where, but saw like their singer, and I was like, I didn't like go up and talk to him. I was just like, oh fuck.
That's gotta be like when you see somebody that you idolized or spent so much time like researching or listening to when you're young, I feel like that, like you kind of like recess back to that age when you see them. You know what I mean? Like, or at least that's how it is for me. Like,
well, that's why it's so common for most people to continue listening to the music that they listened to when they were 16, even at the age of like 50 or 60.
Takes it was like back to 16.
Yeah, and I think like there's something about those formative years of you developing your taste or like what you like, or just that chaotic period of your life where you don't really know what you're going to do with your life, and you're trying to find out where you belong in society and what groups of people you belong with. It's like when you find music that like really speaks to you at a young age, it's hard to ever let that go. Like even for me now, like when I hear Enema of the State, it takes me back to this very, very exciting time period where I'm learning all these songs on drums, and I'm just like so inspired, and anything can happen. Like I remember that feeling, like when you have that feeling when you're young, you know what I mean?
Like I said that. That's really cool. Yeah. I totally relate to that, man. There are, and even like epochs of life, you know, like 14 to 16, 16 to 18, 18 to 20 or whatever, like there's certain albums that I'm always kind of visually like
they define that era.
This Vacation, this whatever, you know. If you start going on tour or whatever, like you're always bumping something in the van or
like,
whatever.
bro, when Good Charlotte comes on, I am sitting in the back of my mom's SUV. We're in San Diego. We're on a family vacation trip. We might be going to Six Flags we might be going to SeaWorld. I have a Walkman that, you know, flips open, and Good Charlotte's in there. Fat Lip, Sum 41 is in there. What else?
Dude, that's how I feel when I hear.
I mean, Nelly. I'm in my full Sum 41 Good Charlotte era right there. Dude, you're 7th grade, baby.
You're smacking mailboxes with a bat. You're doing something.
Dude,
I was really into rap when I was like really little, and my parents wouldn't let me listen to rap, so I had to go to this, like, I forget what CD store it was, but they had, dude, this fucking thing just keeps falling apart. They had like edited versions of, like, you could buy the
I had
album.
to go to those.
Yeah,
I had to go to
we
those.
both had to go to those.
Yeah.
And,
Best Buy had the edited.
I forgot
Sometimes
where
they
I
did.
went.
Yeah.
But like I had like Corrupt's album like edited, or like I would have like Mace. But my
silent.
favorite one was like Nelly, and I would just like, I remember being in the back of like my mom's Ford Taurus and just fucking
Country
having
Grammar,
like my
baby.
mini disc, and then I went directly from that to the fucking Casualties and that stuff, and then I got into ska for a little bit, which I don't want to talk about.
I want to talk about it.
No, yeah,
Ryan, what was
okay.
your favorite ska band?
I was obsessed with
Captain Squeegee and the
Streetlight.
Subsets.
Yeah, bro.
I did. I loved them. But my favorite ska band ever was Slightly Stupid. What's her name? Streetlight Manifesto.
yeah. Streetlight. Yep. Dude, one of my debatably another first concert, it was either the first or second, was Edgefest. Do you remember Edgefest?
I forgot about that.
Did you guys play
that? No. Yes, I remember Edgefest.
Edgefest, dude. Because I just didn't realize about Edgefest. The family, who was the two of the bandmates I had in my first band, they were like, we're going to go to Edgefest. We're going to see Jimmy Eat World, who they always talked about. I didn't know who they were, but they're like, they're an Arizona band. You should check them out.
Do you know the Rhodes that's in our studio used to belong to Jimmy Eat World?
Nah, come on.
Yeah,
that was Jimmy's.
Mouse bought it off someone on OfferUp, and the guy he bought it from used to live with them, and he was like, yeah, I just keep asking them to come pick this Rhodes up, and they never did, so I'm selling it. And so Mouse bought it from him for like $700 or $800, and now it's in our studio.
And we
If you
stole it
thought-
from Mouse for free.
If you thought you had a Rhodes in your studio, no, you don't.
So
'Cause I'm taking it.
basically, what I'm saying is we're in Jimmy Eat World.
Well, now I'm Jimmy Eat World, and you guys don't
Sorry,
have a
go
Rhodes
back.
anymore.
Edgefest. Sorry to interrupt.
The Jimmy Eat Worlds, we walk in and they're in the middle of doing their thing, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, they're a favorite band of mine, still favorite band of mine. But Captain Squeegee and the Subsets are playing as well.
That's fine. So I went to high school with like a lot of the dudes in Captain Squeegee, and then like the guy Danny from our Astro Camp episodes, he was their trumpet player,
Our
But,
alien
like,
leader.
our alien leader. But when I was in high school, I was like started in jazz band, and their saxophone player was like a junior or senior, and he's one of the best musicians I've ever been around my entire life. And so he was in a band. They're like playing shows at Neckbeards all the time. So I go to Neckbeards all the time.
That's where I
just
played my
follow him
first
around. I was
shows.
probably like the annoying freshman that was trying to talk to them, but like I wanted to be in a band and I wanted to like play music. And I was like, I don't know, I felt like I was really good at my instrument for my age always, you know? And now it doesn't mean anything because I'm fucking old. But like when you're like 15 and you're like shredding, or 14 or whatever, it's like people are always like, oh, you're so good for your age.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that anymore. They're just like, oh, you're all right.
I didn't even realize because
No,
the
now
time-
there's like,
I
you
saw
should be better.
I saw a 7-year-old playing.
You've been
that perfectly,
playing.
but
You've been playing for 20 years. You should be better.
Well, the first time I ever saw Katastro was at a festival.
We're at.
Summer Ends.
Oh shit.
When the whole thing
The tour when
got
the
canceled?
fucking big storm happened.
Yeah,
with the main.
I was in a band that was playing that. Yeah, and actually the main is when everyone evacuated, right?
Yep. Right when they were walking on stage, everything went crazy, and their set got totally canceled.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was the most
that storm
chaotic.
was gnarly.
Dude, midnight
I remember
to midnight.
people
that was
falling over. Like I remember girls running and just falling over in
Dude,
the wind.
I remember everybody ran to the fucking like everybody like I just
Garage.
ran with everybody in the crowd, like everybody backstage, everybody just started running at the same time because it was like getting fucking insane.
It was like
And,
a tornado
bushes,
evacuation.
dude. Bushes were like, woof,
Dude,
like,
it was.
going nuts.
I've never seen anything like that, but like literally midnight to midnight, that was like one of the most chaotic days of my entire life. Because so what happened to me on that day? I'm in a local band. We got to play.
What was
a
your
set
band
stage.
called again?
That band was Never Let This Go.
Okay.
And we're a pop punk band, and we show up, and I think we have like our white shirts and ties and stuff, and like
Sick.
we're getting it.
Sugar
And,
Cult vibes. Sugar Cult vibes.
All time low vibes.
Okay, sick.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know if I know who Sugar Cult is.
I'm bouncing off the walls again. Whoa.
Oh shit.
You never heard that one?
I don't think so.
It's a banger. I'll show you later.
I was just telling before we got rolling. I was just telling them that I haven't seen any classic movies. I'm missing out on pretty much everything in life. So Sugar Cool is next.
I got you.
So I'm in the band. We're playing. I don't think we played. We didn't play yet. And I'm going over checking out the main stage. We're all set up, and Katastro's on. And I was like, I think I've heard Katastro. Like, who's this? And I'm like, I'm watching you guys. You're almost done playing, and that's my first memory of Katastro. But then what happened was the main went on next on the main stage, and everybody's evacuating because this main stage is literally collapsing. Like imagine a gigantic main stage that probably costs so much money, and it's literally just falling over like a fucking like nothing, you know. So everybody's running into a parking garage. Water starts getting into the parking garage underground. Everyone starts running out of the parking garage. Everyone just doesn't know what to do. So then they reschedule the show at the Marquee. And they're like, hey, dude, we're going to finish the show at the Marquee. We had gotten, I don't know if like we had the wrong idea or if somebody had given us information they shouldn't have, but we thought we were going to still be able to hop on that. We thought we were still going to be able to play. So by the time we get there with our gear, not only is there not room for us to play, we can't even get in to watch it because fire marshal limit, because the Marquee's much smaller than Tempe Beach Park. So I'm sitting there. I like drove my car, like my amp and stuff in my car, and I'm standing there at the Marquee, and they're telling us no, we can't come in, and I'm just like, bro, I don't know if this could get worse. And I drive back to my dorm and I total my fucking car. So I'm driving back. I'm going maybe like 50 something.
Is this the accident you got in, which gave you the ability to get the car that you're currently driving right now?
Those were more accidents, none of which I've caused. I don't.
Sorry for anyone that doesn't listening. Austin drives a red Lamborghini, or what it kind of
Maserati. It's kind of like a maroon.
Lamborghini.
Yeah. However cool you think it is, it's way cooler than that. And so it was my first car, and it was a 2008 Altima, and I loved that thing. And I'm driving down. I got my buddy who's also in the band behind me, and he watches as I'm in the clear over, like, not the HRV, but the next one. And I just around and around and around and around, and I go flying, like, you know those barrels full of sand on the side of the freeway?
Yeah.
Through those and into a tree, and just, and I just remember my homie's running toward me. He thinks I'm totally fine. You know, I have like a concussion or something, but I'm totally fine. And I just remember being like, oh, yeah, I should probably stop asking if things can get worse, because, like,
it always
sucked.
can. It always can. When you think you can't, it can go lower.
What
caused you to, like, lose control?
I don't know. Maybe I just suck at driving.
Yeah,
because I've never caused another accident. But
you've gotten in more accidents, though.
I have, but I was all getting rear-ended. So the other accidents, so 2 more cars I was driving got totaled, both by getting rear-ended, and that's why I get to drive a nice Honda Civic now. But I said I have a 2008 Altima because the next car I bought was a 2008 Altima from the same dude. He was like, I called him, I was like, you got any cars? He's like, you're not going to fucking believe this. It's like, are you cool with gray this time? And I was like, dude, what? Like, crazy day.
So you were talking about your first show you went to. When you, like, what got you into the path of wanting to become a music producer and mixing engineer? Like, how did that all start? Because that's the route you're currently on right now, you know, like you just moved out to LA and like you're working with tons of different artists and producing and mixing. Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about the Belgana stuff too and the stuff you're currently doing in a minute. But yeah, how did you, like, when did you decide, like, oh, like I could figure Pro Tools out and I could maybe learn how to record and stuff?
Before I ever decided that, my mom bought me Ableton when I was 13, and my mom came home from Guitar Center. She was there for something else.
Oh, you started with Ableton?
Yeah.
Wow.
I started with Ableton Lite. And
that's interesting. Matt did too, apparently.
Oh, what?
I believe that he had a copy of Ableton before Pro Tools.
I tried to get him back on Ableton for so long, man.
Yeah, he's resisting.
He's too good at Pro Tools to give Ableton time. But I wouldn't either. But
and for people that don't know shit about this, Pro Tools is the software that I would say like 95% of all like mixing engineers and producers use to record artists and bands.
It's industry standard.
It's best at everything.
It's the industry standard software, but it crashes the most, and it's also one of the ugliest.
It's best at everything, including crashing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So we'll get that out of the way. Now everyone knows what Pro Tools is if you're listening to this and don't know that shit. So
Ableton was, I literally was looking at it like it was the cockpit of an airplane. I was just staring at it, and I was like, this button probably does something.
You said you're like 12, 13?
I'm 13. I'm staring at it. I'm
damn, bro, 13.
Well, I didn't have an interface.
That's why you're so dope now. Okay, 13, you get Ableton, what happens?
Dude, so I couldn't ever figure it out. And then I torrented Logic a few years later, and I figured out Logic. And I was like, oh, this is how you do it. Because they have guitar amps on the computer.
Yep.
And I was like, this is how you do it. And I don't even know if I had... when I was in a kid band, we came out to California for a convention called Taxi, and there were raffles that they would do. It was kind of just like writing workshops and all this kind of stuff. But they had a raffle, and I won an interface. Apogee had just put out the first interface called the One.
Oh,
It
sick.
was their first one.
Before the duet.
Yeah. And
Sick.
well, maybe they had put them all out, but they were doing a demonstration of the One, and they're like, for everyone in here, you can enter to win it. And I did, and I didn't even know what it was, but I wrote my name down, and I was like, I don't know what that does, but I want it. Maybe I could sell it. And then by the time I won it, I was like, this is so cool. What can you do this? Like, you can record. Like, didn't you see our whole presentation? And I was like, oh shit. Like, I'd love to do that stuff you guys just did. And I was like, I got to go buy a computer now. And they're like, oh, this only works with Mac. And I was like, Mac? Like, dude, like,
Yeah.
I'm 13 or like whatever. I was like, I don't know how to do shit. So, so I pretty much, I just went on Craigslist and got a Mac. I figured it out. Like I went and got one that inevitably crashed. It just whited out in the middle of a song.
Yeah.
And just like in like no time, but it taught me how to use the interface. And then I started to realize that you could write songs on the computer. Like if you're by yourself and you could do some kind of drum beat. Like I started to realize that like, oh, I don't even need to I don't need to wait for my band to like be done with like sports practice or whatever to like,
I can just
send them a song. Yeah. So I started doing that, and then I realized I could do that for my friends, and then I started recording like rappers at my high school and whatever.
So you were doing that in high school before you ever met Matt Keller?
Oh yeah. I wasn't making anything good, but like,
well, that's fine. Yeah,
I love to like write. So I was writing songs since I was 8. You know, so like if people needed help with that or needed help making the music, I was like, oh, I could help. You know.
Were you starting to do that for money in high school?
I finally started charging like $60 or something, which I thought was like $1,000.
Yeah.
It was back then.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, especially coming from another high schooler.
Did you have other jobs in high school?
I had one job. I was actually teaching guitar.
Was that the only job that you've ever had?
No, when I was 19, I got hired at Top Golf.
Okay.
So I was working.
Top Golf. That's it.
Yeah. I was working.
That, and you were a guitar teacher once.
I was teaching guitar. I was actually teaching drums too, which I was only teaching like 5-year-olds. So I was teaching them the most simple stuff. But I was just kind of like trying to get in where I fit in. You know what I mean? Like if someone needed demos, I started bringing over metal bands to my parents' house, like my Mormon family.
Yeah.
They're just doing, like, blah, like upstairs. And
were your parents fine with it though?
I mean, they became fine with it. I think they were happy that I was happy, and they were like, maybe you could make some money off of this. But then I started bringing over like a rapper who like said the F word to my little sister and like just shit like that. And I was like,
that wasn't stuff that wasn't cool.
I got to start checking. And then he's like on the phone with someone in my room who I don't know who he's talking to, but he's like, yeah, bro, meet up at Walmart. Let's fucking go. I'm just like, dude, he's like this, like,
you're like a Mormon kid.
We're all these nerdy,
like,
we're all these nerdy like white kids, and I'm listening to like pick a fight. I was like, I got to start like vetting these people who come over to my family's house. Like this is weird. And yeah, man. So eventually the way that all my band's plural music would get written was, would come over, we'd do it that way. And then I tried making the demos better and better. And really what was happening was when I was 12, that kid band that I was in, we recorded at the Salt Mine, which for those listening is like the studio in Arizona with like all the gear and like
it's the most expensive studio.
It's aesthetically like one of the nicest studios in
big boards.
As far as like gear.
Big rooms to record in. And
Lil Wayne recorded there.
Oh yeah, dude, Jonas Brothers. We would tell our friends at school like I actually remember telling my friends at junior high that I was totally going to meet them because I'm pretty sure that all the bands, like I kind of thought it was like a label where like everyone like knows each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I kind of know Lil Wayne now.
Yeah.
It was like, and DMX and all these people, and then it was like a month later, I was like, I think I'm wrong. I'm very wrong about that. Like, I just didn't know. I was young. I was excited, and so from that situation to the next one, I kept. We had. In fact, the guy we had there was the owner's son, Justin Salter. Shout out. He was very, very, very
Kids, right?
Scary Kids.
Scary Kids.
Yeah, he was the drummer of that band, and he just totally. I think he was like 25 at the time. We were like 12. So he was just he was like Big Brother, so chill, just saying the funniest things. I remember some funny sayings he would say that like weren't really words, but he coined these words that he would say, and I just realized like. I remember him saying, instead of uno más, I remember him be like, onto más. And I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, I don't know, do it again. so like, I remember realizing how important it was to have fun and how much it helped us to have fun.
During the process of making music.
We'd never been in a studio. So I was like, oh, this is like the reason it works is because like this person calms everybody down, and they don't know what they're doing. So like that's stressful. And so it turns out that, you know, I had more than one of those people. So next up, you know, recorded here, recorded there. And I met a guy named Jamie Wolford, who's a great producer, a really great mixer. And he does like the rock thing more, but I grew up doing the rock thing. And so I actually knew one of his bands called The Stereo. They're Fueled by Ramen band. And when I met him, I actually recognized him by a tattoo he had. Because
really?
They had just played Fueled by Ramen 15-year anniversary with like Paramore and Fun and all these bands. It was like streamed on MTV, I think, or Fuse. And so we go to meet with this guy we found him on Google. Our parents were certain recording places, Arizona, you know? So we go meet him and I'm like, dude, you're the... So we recorded with him, and again, just so like instant like friendship. Like he came over to my parents' house to pre-pro the songs.
Nice.
He was just so cool, man. And I remember being like for real, all these guys, I was like, I want to be like that guy. Like I want to be able to, even though I was young, and what I thought was so cool about them was that they had these years of experience and trial and error. And I was like, I don't think I have that to offer yet, but I want to do that somehow, like as soon as I can.
That's what's interesting about finding a mentor in life with whatever you're trying to do, is that if you find the correct people to latch onto and learn from, you can actually skip ahead to where they're at because they've already made all these mistakes and learned all these things. And they're like letting you know how to not do what didn't work. And it's almost like you can like skip ahead.
Yeah, if you're not defensive like I was when I was a kid, I was kind of like in an ear and out the other until I realized these people were trying to help me.
It was cool having those people too, like at your house to help you out and stuff. Like my parents, when I was like first getting really into jazz and like just learning as much as I could about jazz and stuff, my parents by chance became friends with band leader of Tower of Power.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I like through church or something. And so he started coming over for dinners a lot. And he would like watch me play bass, and he would like be like, dude, that's awesome. Because their bassist, Rocco, is like this crazy fucking amazing bassist. But he would tell me stories. Like I idolized Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah.
And he played with Jaco forever. Like he knew him really well. And he would tell us like stories that you can't read in books and like just life shit. And
about
he would
Jaco?
like tell me about Jaco. And it's like my idol who I'm like learning every song. I play him, me playing Jaco. He's like, it's fucking crazy because I was like 15, you know. And he would just be like, just tell me all these fucking stories about like, I don't know. It was just like having somebody be there to be like, that kind of believed in you a little bit, but also they'd done everything that you wanted to do, and they played at a level that was like way higher or whatever it is. It's just like that kind of gives you that like inspiration of like, oh, I've got this guy at my house. And I was never even like a big like Tower of Power fan necessarily, which like later on I got into them. But at the time I was just like, he knew Jaco. You know? It's
yeah.
Those crazy stories.
Do you guys remember a band called the Jets? They had a song called Crush on You.
Yep.
So at our church, we went to the guitar player. I think they were actually like a family band. I think many of them are related, or all of them. And
was the Jets Cold Hard Bitch?
That's Jet.
Sorry.
Great song.
That's such a good song. I heard that song again recently. I think it got played at like the gym or something, and I was like, this song is so
My dad
good.
had that CD in the car, and
that song is fire.
And it just starts with the guitars. Dude, he would put it on. I remember because you know we didn't do a whole lot of swearing and stuff, or try to limit it like in the house and the media and stuff that we had. So I remember it'd get to the chorus and we'd either kind of like skip it, or I would kind of just get embarrassed. But I remember he'd like, even my dad, because you know he could get down. You know, like he wasn't afraid to play like stuff that had like, you know, he realized I was like, you know, I was a presentable kid, you know, so he would just kind of give me a look like don't tell anybody, and he'd put it on, and he would always be like, the guitar's in this song, and just great song.
It's the opposite, because Stravs' dad used to just drive around with Eminem playing while he was chilling.
My dad's the only music that my dad listened to growing up was Michael Jackson's discography and the Rolling Stones.
Whoa, not
it
bad.
Was those two. So like, and he really loved Eminem or Katastro. So like straight up,
what a third option.
The only
of all the third options.
The only four options he would be riding around in his convertible was Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson, Eminem, or Katastro.
That's a pretty good spread.
But what's interesting is I didn't find out. Sorry, I'm like going off track here,
No,
but
that's good.
I did not find out really anything about the Beatles or like listen to the Beatles until I was like 13, and
Same.
I had this this girlfriend that was a huge Beatles fan, and she grew up listening to the Beatles, and her parents told her that the Rolling Stones sucked. And I grew up, my dad told me when I was a kid that the Beatles were gay.
They're a bunch of pussies.
He said the Rolling Stones are badass, the Beatles are gay.
That's so funny. You literally,
That's what my dad told me growing up. So until I was 13, I didn't really listen to the Beatles. And then I quickly learned that the Beatles are epic.
I never listened to any classic rock ever. I never had like... None of my family ever listened to it. Nobody around me ever listened to it. Nobody I grew up with ever listened to it. So I like to this day, I've never listened to like a full Beatles album. I've never listened to like, I probably should.
I'm gonna watch movies that are famous, and you're gonna listen to Magical Mystery Tour and Sgt. Pepper.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen.
All right.
Today.
We'll think about it.
During the rest of the podcast, let's get it on right now.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up with either those Beatles or Stones in the household, but I did realize because of my friends that there's a rivalry, a mad rivalry with the Stones and the Beatles.
Oh yeah, it's like the biggest rivalry.
I didn't know. I just thought they were just two. I was like, that'll happen someday. I'll hear them.
They're completely different sounding bands too, so it makes no sense.
I think didn't Beatles do Helter Skelter to like take a stab? Oh, I think that was the Who. I think they were like, we're gonna be the Who, and they're just like, like they were just yelling and turn up the
Beatles,
on guitars.
The Who was one where I did listen to a lot because their bassist was fucking crazy. So I remember my dad
Who's
being
that
like,
again?
"You gotta." Is it Entwistle and?
I did. Oh,
is
okay.
that right? Yeah.
The Who's
And
fucking
Whistle.
sick,
Yeah.
dude.
So dude, like I mean, like Boris the Spy, like all those like old like bass lines were just like.
Yo, they have Keith Moon's drum kit at the Mim, right, Stevie?
Oh,
Yeah.
so sick, dude.
Have you been to the Mim?
One time.
It's fucking dope, dude. Ryan took me to a show there on a little date night a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he texted me like, "Hey, babe, want to go on a date tonight to a jazz show?" And I was like, "Dude,
Bro, man.
now you're speaking my
It was
language."
fun.
It's a
It
cool
was
spot.
actually really sick. I had never been to a real jazz show, and I went with Ryan, and it was really sick.
Yeah, we
was
saw
like-
Mark Juliana.
I don't know.
He's dude,
Did
it was
you
a
go to that, Stevie?
Crazy drummer.
Wow.
So sick, dude.
Oh, dude, a good
So,
jazz band is like
It's
unbeatable.
mind blowing.
Dude, you see, like I went to Blue Note to see Robert Glasper. and
Oh,
his
I
group
mean, come on.
in New York, and to be in like the venue because like I was just like such like a fan of jazz, you know, since I was really young, and so like Blue Note is historic, and so to just be there, like I was already on vacation, so I'd probably been drinking pretty heavy for like 3 days, and like the show didn't start till like 10 p.m. and I was like, dude, I feel like dog shit. Like we're gonna have to wait outside for like 2 hours, and so like we're standing in this line. I'm like getting anxiety. I'm like, dude, I feel like shit. I want to go to sleep. I don't want to be here. We walk in, you're shoulder to shoulder with people on this bench. There's like people, but I am like as far away from Stravs as I was to Robert Glasper.
Oh,
And like once you just start sitting there and you're just like, oh shit, you realize how small it is. Because you always think this historic place where like all the best jazz artists ever used to play. And then you're like, you think of it as like this big cool bar or something. It's like, it's tiny, it's packed. And it's just the best fucking musicians alive that far away from you doing shit that you like didn't know was possible.
Straight
Like Chris
up.
Dave was a drummer, and I was like, I've never seen.
Oh, Chris Dave is amazing.
Yeah, I've never seen somebody like he was doing like the speed of a drum roll with 1 foot on the kick pedal, and I'm like, what the fuck? To the point where it sounds like one note, and you're just like, dude, it was the craziest shit. Like everybody there, it was just like being in that moment. It's the most inspiring thing because like you walk out and you're like, I fucking suck. And like I always love those
motivating.
You need
moments.
that.
I love those moments in my life where I'm like, I suck at it. I get it with fishing now. I get it with everything else. I'm always looking for those things where I'm really bad at something because I like seeing progress and I like knowing where I'm getting better. So if I go to that jazz show, I leave, it just opens your eyes to be like, oh, there's so much more that I could be doing. And
Well, that
Dude,
kind of
shit is just
circles back.
completely different.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really interesting how that circles back to where we just went off on that tangent because you were saying you saw this guy, this producer that became a quick friend of yours that was able to navigate this like fun, energetic feeling in a room to get this like young band that didn't know what they were doing inspired. And there's a part of you that felt like, oh, like I could do that someday maybe.
It was. I had.
So
I
then
didn't
what
know-
happened?
Well, I just didn't know that was even important. I didn't realize that was important and that bands needed that. I thought bands were just. I thought a lot of things. I thought that every singer songwriter in a band. I thought that they just were just like
an epic leader that just knew how to take it everywhere.
It was bestowed upon them an ability to just shit out like this, or maybe not that, maybe it was this long complicated process, but to be able to just make these opuses alone in their mind on their own, which has happened. People do that. Like I think Freddie Mercury wrote Bohemian Rhapsody on his own, right? Because there's that meme about
it was like
that,
the Kevin Parkers of the world.
Yeah. There are these people who, Lennon, McCartney, like we could go on. There are people who are just Billy Joel, like people who are just
Andrew Stravs, Ryan Weddle.
Andrew Stravs, the goat of goats.
I'm just joking.
The Billy Goat.
The best of all time at songwriting?
Dude, the best.
The two people in here?
There's not any question.
You're lucky enough to assist sometimes?
Dude, I'm literally I'm gonna be like 50 and I'm gonna get a call from Ryan. He's gonna be like, hey man, can I get a coffee? Like can you fly down here? And I actually look forward to it.
We did kind of like breeze past it, but like you came in for the Tropical Heartbreak one and you were kind of assisting Matt Keller, and we'd never met you. And then we would make sure that Matt was bringing you every time that we would come back, because there was like, you were just like good to be around, always like really positive, always happy, like down to just be like, yeah, like, do you guys need anything? Like whatever.
And you had really great ideas.
Yeah, you had great ideas. And you could sing great, so it was like coming up with harmonies was like quick as fuck. And we were just like, we like being around this kid. He's not in the way. Like there would be times where we just like forget you're there, which is like it's like the best thing that you can be when you're doing like just the assistant side of things, because it's like we look for that in like photographers and like videographers and stuff. It's like people that we love being around.
It sucks
but
being
also,
around.
You don't want to have somebody that's like constantly in your face when you're trying to come up with something. It's like you kind of knew when to like not say an idea and when to come up with an idea, and it's something you only kind of learn just by doing it and by like being wrong a bunch. But then we got your first songwriting credit with the band with 100 Rips.
That's right, man. Yeah, that's right. I'm really glad. I appreciate you saying that, because I didn't really know how to do it. Like when I showed up for the assisting stuff, I had been assisting Matt kind of more privately, going over just to do stuff.
And doing like mixed preps for him and stuff.
Yeah, at the studio, I was doing stuff on my computer next to him on his computer. But then when it came to be with the bands, all I had was my experience being in bands myself. And I was generally the one who was kind of, why don't you play this? Why don't we try that? Like, do you guys like this part? Like kind of just, I don't know what to call it. Like just kind of orchestrating, trying to sort of like move the practice along or the writing session, and trying to make sure everything was like organized and it was moving somewhere. And then when I realized, when I was in the studio with you guys, I was like, they're already doing that. They're already there, but like there's going to be these obstacles that pop up, and I got to help get them out of the way, and then I got to get back out of the way. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. But also one of those obstacles is sometimes someone's bored, or sometimes someone needs a drink or whatever, and it's just like any little step that I could think to take to make them go like, oh, that was good news that he's there or whatever. Like, just kind of subconsciously, I was like, I really hope I'm not like, they're not worse off for having me around.
No, it's good to have that too. So like, especially when you start touring with other bands, it's like, no matter how big the band that you're opening up for, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, you want to be there and you want to become friends with them, but you're not going to get that way by overcrowding them, talking to them too much. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and not like talking to them too much sounds weird, but like I think what I'm trying to say is like there's a way where you can kind of get in somebody's way where they're just like, this kid's always here. If you're on tour, if I'm on tour and I'm always like in the headliner's green room or something, they're
absolutely.
Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's the same even
space,
even if it's not musicians. It's just sort of like, I think it's just like manners and personality and kind of reading the room
and having an understanding of what your role is.
Yeah, because you guys were there to work. You were like, it was fun, and it wouldn't have worked as well, the music, if you wouldn't have had fun. But it's not just fun, and that's something I learned being in the studio before and running up my parents' bill and all of our parents' bill at the first studio making the album, because we were on the clock. It wasn't a flat rate,
right.
And so I started to realize like, dude, this is working. Also, we got to make great music, And so you guys had already been doing records with Matt, and they were great. And so I was like, all right, well, it's got to be, if I'm going to show up, it's got to be worth it and better, And so at least of a situation or day to day. And so I'm definitely glad that you guys, felt that way. I remember you guys giving me a shout out on the pod back then.
Yeah.
I remember being in Globe and being like, "Oh shit."
Well, the three of us were hanging out last night at our studio after rehearsal yesterday.
Yeah,
And
we're
so we're-
rehearsing we're playing with your girlfriend.
My girlfriend Lauren Case,
Which Lauren is such a talented artist, man. I had no
incredible.
idea. Like, I kind of felt bad. I had heard like bits and pieces of stuff she'd posted online over the years, but I had never actually like listened to a lot of her music. And the songs are great that you guys made together. Like,
Thanks, man.
she truly is gifted. Like,
She's very gifted.
She's got a really great voice, and the songs she makes, it's obvious that they're just coming from her. And yeah, I don't know. Even some of the new music you showed us that she's been making, it's really cool.
Yeah,
It's cool of you to say, man. Thanks.
playing that show tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
playing. Me and Ryan are playing with you guys tonight
Yeah,
at the Rebel Lounge.
These dude, I've been waiting to play a show with you guys for a long time. Like, we've never
That's
actually.
crazy. Yeah,
Hey,
we've
hey!
never
You
played
smashed the
instruments.
tambourine at Cali Vibes.
I did come out and play the tambourine, and I ran around. I can't even say I played the tambourine because I was too busy trying to film it.
Yeah.
So I'm running around, and I was just like, kind of
Yeah.
like bashing
You
it.
came to Cali Vibes?
Dude, I
I don't
came to-
remember that.
Dude, I was.
He
you're
pocket
so
full
good
of
at staying at not getting in
pocket
the way.
full of.
I
Didn't you
drove
come
up
out on
Oh,
pocket-
yeah.
pretty free. You guys were setting up as I was getting there. You guys were already like, you were getting on the drum riser. The stage is like rotated around, and I was just like, I don't know where to find a tambourine, but I think I'm supposed to find one. And then the Dirty Heads
John
drummer
gave
was
you
like,
one.
Here you go, bro. And just like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh shit. And then, you guys were on pretty quickly. And then someone was like, all right, pocket full. And I was like, okay. And I just ran out, and I was just like, oh shit. I don't
That's
really.
funny.
It was so fun, man. But I had never. I remember setting up for the first rehearsal with you guys last week for this Lauren show and going like, dude, I've never played with you guys before.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't even realize that till right now.
I love playing. Like, I love like filling in for stuff.
It's
and-
really cool for me to see you in the role of like creative director leading the band rehearsal thing, because I've seen you in the room like producing and mixing and like assisting Katastro while we're like super hands on and like trying to orchestrate our own shit. It's been cool to see that like
Hell yeah,
different
man.
side of you.
Thanks, dude. That's honestly where the producing, like, that's where my kind of producer like demeanor comes from, is from being in a band. Like, I feel like if I'm
Totally.
producing a band's song or helping produce, I'm temporarily in the band. Like, I have to have all the same motivations, all the same fears, all the same wants. I have to have all the same dreams and goals, short term and long term, that band does. And if I don't, there's something wrong. I have to recalibrate. And I feel like bands.
So you're able to like basically, I guess what you're saying is like you're basically putting yourself in the band temporarily that you're working with, or like the artist,
Oh yeah.
so that everything feels just as like life or death to you as it does to them.
Well, they have to, when it gets done, they have to be
That's
like,
pretty cool.
the band has to be like, fuck yeah. when it's
Absolutely,
done,
for
you know?
sure.
So like if I'm fuck yeah and they're not, we're not done. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? So it's like
totally.
I either went over or under the sweet spot. You know what
Absolutely,
I
dude.
mean? And so where that starts, I think, is right at the very beginning. You know, and that's kind of the same even with the assisting with Matt on Tropical Heartbreak. And I think that's why the Sucker stuff went the way it did too, and was so fun for me. It was because, you know, by that time I kind of felt like I was like, you guys made me feel like I was like a part of the team and like in the band, in the crew and stuff, with the writing. Like, we'd be writing lyrics or a part, and everyone would be making eye contact with each other, including me. And I was like, cool,
Yeah.
that means
You're in.
we figured out a
Yeah.
hive mind, and I can probably help with this.
Yeah.
Is like the way I approached it, you know.
Mhm.
And as an assistant, that also comes with being like shutting the hell up, you know, like sometimes, which I have a hard time doing that. But like,
I remember Andy being very excited about having another really good singer in the room, like when it came to like harmonies and stuff.
Yeah.
Because when it came to like Andy and Ryan and you being there to like work out a melody together, it was like a very unstoppable team of like people that know how like just ideas for melodies and shit.
hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, those are some fun
So-
sessions.
Oh
and
wait, we
days.
did another one together because me and you and Andy. I don't know. I
Pocket
think
Fulla.
you were on tour
Pocket
with
Fulla was
the
produced
main or
by
something. Yeah, me
Austin.
and you and Andy started Pocket Fulla.
You were gone. Yeah, I think you were out of town. We started Pocket Full, and then we started another one, which we've had in the vault.
Yeah.
Which it was some
Unfinished.
really fun days. I think those were like back to back days, and
Yeah.
it's like the two times I had seen you guys together, and yeah, that I just like those were 3 sessions, and each one I was like, this is fucking dope. Like
Yeah.
you guys
They're
are
all
just,
like fun, cool songs. I mean, 100 Riffs is one of my favorite songs we've ever done. And then Pocketful was like my favorite on like the last year of us touring and stuff. That was like my favorite song to play live. Like it was just
hell
so
yeah.
like high
It has
energy.
been my favorite song to play for a moment.
I'd like
dude.
totally
It's-
rip off LCD Sound System. I love it because I actually landed the vibe and the sound of like what I was going for, of like this kind of campy, cheesy sound, but in a cool way. And like I
Pocketful or
love
100
that.
Riffs?
Yeah, Pocketful.
yeah.
Just having like the cheesy kind of synth
Ow,
stuff
ow.
that like works really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, what are you doing now? What's going on in your life right now?
Dude, right now
So you just moved.
Yeah, so I just hit a year living in LA, which I come back to Phoenix, and I have my Phoenix peeps here that I still love to work with. And out in LA, I'm lucky to have people from Arizona who have moved before myself. So they already made their friends, and I get to meet their friends, and not they're my friends. And it's basically just it's just constant writing, constant producing. I'm mixing.
You're living with the Belganas guys?
I'm living with the band. I've been with a hip hop plus, I like to call it. It's all kinds of music wind up in that. But Belaganas, we've been going strong for, I want to say like 5 years. And I met those guys when they were like 16 and 15.
Yeah, and you've been touring a little bit with them too. Right?
Yeah.
You guys did some touring this year.
We've done our first 2 tours as of the last like 12, 14 months. We did a tour with Hoodie Allen, who invited us on a tour with 6 days notice. He said, you say yes by tomorrow. And we were like everyone's calling Starbucks and being like, we're not coming.
Did everybody work there? That's right.
I was
forgot they all
texting
worked
clients
there,
being
yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. Like, we're going to have to push this.
That's
Like,
funny.
and so, yeah, we just freaking rented stuff and flew and went on that. And then this really cool Irish band called Kneecap. They're just awesome guys, and I got to say that about Hoodie and his crew too. Everyone was so just like aware of the fact that we hadn't done it before and like helpful. And then before we know it, they're doing this for us and doing that for us and just so welcoming. So with Kneecap, they were coming to the States for like the first or second time, and so both those tours we just got to play to the rooms were already sold. So just so much luck in that, and we work hard, man. Try to bring a good show, but
You guys got to have a cool, like, I don't know. I don't want to like make the comparison to Brockhampton because I think your sound is like kind of further, more newer and experimental. But just the vibe of having everybody in the camp living together kind of. And you got like cool like artists and photographer people, and you've got dope fucking rappers and singers and producers and engineers and stuff. And it's all like this one stop shop. But I don't know. I think we should probably wrap up pretty soon, but I just want to say it's been really cool watching you grow up over the last few years. And like, since you first started that session with Tropical Heartbreak, that was a while ago, and just seeing you like kind of come into yourself as a person and as an artist and, shoot from the hip and make the fucking leap going to LA and just going for it and working hard all the time. Like it's, we notice it and we love you, man. Like you've done a lot for us and it's been great working with you.
Guys. Dude, thank you so much.
I
love you guys.
I feel the same way for sure, dude. I'm going to put this on record right now. I think Austin Parker Jones is going to be one of the biggest producers and mixers in the game.
Yeah, it's one of those names.
I think he will.
APJ, big facts.
I think you will, bro. And I think if
Austin
you
likes to
keep
say.
doing what you do and just, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
people
you,
will look
man.
up this interview and they'll be like, we got Austin
Yeah.
Jones on a podcast.
Yeah, so if you don't do that, don't fucking embarrass us, bro.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
dude.
putting
I was
this on
gonna say-
record right now.
The pressure. Real quick, are there some artists
kidding.
that like you feel like help really define your sound? Obviously, if you want to listen to what Austin is up to, listen to Belaganas. Who else?
Oh, yeah. You mean stuff I'm working on or stuff that I like?
Stuff that's out that you've done.
Oh, that I've done?
Yeah, just so people can get a vibe.
Yeah, or even stuff you're currently working on that's not finished, but if you want to shout out some artists that you've been working with or have worked with that you think people should listen to.
Just that way people can hear your actual work.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, LA is full of amazing artists, and I keep meeting them all the time. I'll shout out a couple cool rock bands because out of nowhere, for the first time in my life, I'm working on mostly rock, which I thought I thought that chance was over, but I got to shout out Bruvy, dope rock band. I got to shout out Pretty Ugly, dope rock band. There's a new rock band that I'm working with that hasn't quite picked a name yet, so I can't. I just in case they change it, but very excited about rock. Hope that there's a lot of rock stuff coming out.
That's awesome, dude.
You know, Belaganas will have some new songs coming out soon too. So, man, I just for real love you guys, and I'm so glad that I've been able to do these rehearsals for Lauren's show. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and yeah, dude.
APJ for life, big facts, baby.
Let's go. Thank
Big
you,
old
Kamp
bag.
Podcast. Thank
Love you, dog.
APJ.
Let's go.
Thank you, man.
Give me some skin.